Let's begin with lesson one. So let's start with the fundamental question. What is a share of stock? So if you buy a share in Facebook, what are you actually buying? Well, you're buying the right to owning part of the company and its profits. So before you buy a share in Facebook, you got to ask this question: how many shares are there in total? So Facebook, for example, has 2.95 billion shares outstanding. That's the total number of shares that are available in the market. So if you were to buy, for example, 295 million shares, you would own 10% of all the shares. You own 10% of the company and be entitled to 10% of all the profits. If you're like most retail investors, you'll not be able to afford that amount, right? You maybe buy 10 shares, 100 shares, 1,000 shares, and you can start with as little as one share. So currently, one share in Facebook is priced at $177. And of course, these prices change every single moment, every single day. So if you take the total number of shares and you multiply this by the share price of a share, you get the total value of the company, which in this case is $501 billion. And this is known as the company's market capitalization or market cap. So Facebook's one company. There are a total of 7,000 companies listed on US stock exchanges. And the three main stock exchanges would be the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, the American Stock Exchange, and the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. So a stock exchange is kind of like a supermarket of companies, where companies are on sale every day at different prices. So every day you can go into the stock market and buy shares of any company that you want, whether it's Facebook, McDonald's, Alibaba, Coca-Cola, or Visa. And now with online trading, it's so easy to buy and sell shares of companies. You can do it within seconds. All you need is a stockbroker. So you're going to use online, low-cost stockbrokers that will allow you to access the stock market. So again, as long as you have got a computer, you can be anywhere in the world. You go on the internet, you connect with a broker, and you can buy and sell shares of any companies in the US exchanges. So to get some quick information about the share you're trading, you can go to a website like Finviz, where most of the data is found on one page. So I'm looking at Facebook, and on Finviz, the first thing that you can see would be the charts, right? The stock chart. So this tells you the recent price performance of the share. And you can see that it's currently selling at $177 per share. It was at $150 about a year ago. So it has appreciated quite a bit since then. And you can see the stock's on a very clear uptrend. So we are bullish on the stock. There is a clear, strong support at $170. So we'll talk more about chart patterns in a short while. So down below you have got some of the key information about the stock you're trading. And so common question people ask would be, so Adam, what's important that I need to look out for? Well, it depends. If you are a short-term trader, then you're only concerned with the short-term price movement. And for that, you are only concerned really about the price action pattern of the chart, the trend, if you will. And as far as fundamentals are concerned, you can just look at, for example, earnings growth for the next 5 years, earnings growth this year, as well as sales growth in the last few quarters. All right, because obviously when a company has got strong earnings growth and sales growth, that gives the stock momentum to move up faster. All right, so again, as a short-term trader, you're only concerned with growth, earnings growth and sales growth. If you're more of a medium to long-term investor like Warren Buffett, then you have to look more at things like the price-earnings ratio, right? That tells you what's the share price divided by the earnings per share. So if you take the PE ratio divided by the earnings growth rate, which is 27%, if you take 32 divided by 27, you get 1.21, and this is known as the PEG ratio. So PEG ratio tells you, is the share overvalued or is it undervalued? Is it expensive or is it cheap? And this is only important if you are a long-term investor. As a short-term trader, it doesn't matter if you buy a stock when it's expensive, because in the short term, expensive can become even more expensive. High can become higher. In fact, as a short-term trader, you do not want to buy cheap stocks, because cheap can get cheaper because of the downward momentum. But as a long-term investor, you want to buy as undervalued as you can. So it's really different whether you are a short-term trader or you're a long-term investor. I am creating a stock investment course in a couple of months, which is more focused on medium to long-term investing. But for the purpose of this video, it's really about short-term swing trading. Okay. Again, as a long-term investor, you'd also be concerned with things like current ratio and debt to equity ratio over here. That tells you the company's leverage or debt position. You also look at things like gross margins, return on equity, and even insider transactions. Okay, but not really important for a short-term trader. Now, as a short-term trader, it is also important to look at the average volume traded per day. So how many shares are traded in a single day? For Facebook, you can see it's 21 million shares traded. So you want sufficient liquidity so you can get in and out of the stock with the minimum slippage in the bid to ask spread. Okay, as you can see over here, you've got the number of shares outstanding. We talked about that a while ago. So Facebook has 2.95 billion shares. So if you multiply the number of shares again with the share price, you get the market capitalization, which is $522 billion. All right. So there's some basic information that you can get from most websites, and Finviz is a pretty useful